Righto, you lot. Good morning. What a lovely morning it is as well. Let's have a little look about how I like to try and tune a nitro engine, because there's a lot of videos out there. I've done videos in the past about how to tune your nitro, how you want it done and all this kind of stuff. But there's also a lot of them pop up every now and again. Oh, that one's had enough. A lot of them pop out every now and again, the videos, and there's people trying to tune for all kinds of weird and wonderful random things, and really all you need is just something that works. What works, you know, the tune that just, it goes, so you can go and enjoy your car. You don't have to worry about a single stage tick over, you know, a double stage ticker. None of that rubbish really matters. If you want that, tune to get that. But in this video, I'm gonna just tell you the basics, really, on what you need and what you don't need. And we're going to use this little buggy as the example. This is my little buggy that I've got out here today. It's an S-Works S35-4. It's got a Nova B3 in it, and it's what we're going to use to try and tell you just the basics of tuning your nitro engine, just so that you don't have to mess around, fanning around, trying to get things perfect. Just get it usable and enjoy it is all I can say. Let's get her started up and then I'll show you. Now it's important to remember, all you're going to need is the screwdriver. In this case it takes an Allen, a 2.5mm Allen driver to do the carburetor on this one. You might need a Phillips head screwdriver for your one. You need to get that in the hand and get her going. Make sure she stays right. Now what you want is you want a constant stream of smoke, right? If you want to be environmentally friendly, you don't want to get a nitro car. You've got to make sure you've got a constant stream of smoke all the time. Right through, from acceleration at low speed, right through the mid-ranges up to the high range. Smoke all the time. Watch for this, ready? Watch the smoke. That was full throttle. Right? When you jab the throttle, full throttle from standing still like this, ready? Standing still, full throttle. Well, that didn't go well. My receiver batteries run out. Oh well, there we go. It's alright. It's a bit dicky, that receiver battery. It's a new battery, but it's a bit dicky. I might have to go and take it back to the shop. Anyway, from standing still, you should be able to punch the throttle, full throttle, and it just takes off, and a nice thick cloud of blue smoke. Right? Now a lot of people get bog mixed up, bogging, with a lean mixture, right? If an engine is bogging, that means it's too rich, alright? Rich. If it's lean, and it does that noise, as I'm just about to show you, that's not bogging, that's just hesitation. That sound, that's not bogging, that's hesitation because it's too lean. Listen carefully. That's too lean, it needs to be richened up. Of course, it does help if you have some nitro in the tank. It's also important to remember, running the engine too lean will cause some damage. Running it rich won't cause as much damage to the engine itself but it might damage your glow plug, same as lean. But if it's too rich, it might damage the glow plug. I wouldn't worry too much about it if it's a bit rich. If it's lean, try and sort that out. But if it's a bit rich, doesn't matter. You can run it for as long as you want, it doesn't really matter. Let's get the bitch fired up again. Now when it comes to those, as some people call it idles, or as we call it over here, tick over. Some people go for it a single stage, some people go for a 2-stage. I don't believe there's really any difference. I need to sort this battery out really. Anyway, this engine comes down to just a normal tick over. It just comes down nicely, as you can hear. Listen to this. That comes down to a nice tick over. I know you can't see it, that's not very good, is it? There we go. There it is. There you go. Comes down to a nice tick over. And eventually it stops. I'm having some trouble with my receiver battery here by the looks of things, but the long and short of it that I want to try and help people with is, hopefully we've now distinguished the lean condition, you know, where it's lean and it makes a noise. That's not rich, that's lean. That needs to be sorted out as soon as possible, ideally. But if it's rich, there's too much smoke and it's a bit sluggish, that's not the end of the world, and you can go from there. But one thing I think a lot of people need to remember is, don't get sort of stuck and carried away with trying to get it perfect. Just get it so it runs. Unfortunately, I've got trouble with my receiver battery. Otherwise I'd be able to show you a bit more in depth into the basics, a bit at least. But we're coming back another day probably, and I've got a receiver battery that actually holds a charge. It's a brand new battery, but it is what it is. And we'll go into it a little bit better. But hopefully now you kind of have because this is a basic video, you kind of have a bit of a better idea now that you should have trying to blue smoke all the time from start to finish, from tick over to full throttle, punch the throttle, blue smoke the whole time, and it should just go. If it makes that noise, it's too lean. You need to richen it up, turn the low speed. If it's from low speeds, turn it out anti-clockwise, you know, and that's cock each time. And if it's more on the higher end, do the high speed needle. But it's important to remember to adjust the high speed needle first, because the high speed needle does govern the whole width, the whole band of throttle. So, you know, you can play around with the high speed and see if you can get it to be alright. If not, then go around with the low speed. You always adjust the high speed and then the low. You never adjust the low and then the high. Always the high and then the low. And if you've got a mid-speed needle, a mid-range needle, as this one does there, you can adjust that as well, but you do that for fine-tuning afterwards. Alright, so you always go high speed needle, low speed needle, fine-tune. That's how it works. Nice one. I'll catch you lot on the next one. If you want any more tuning videos, let me know. If you want me to use a different buggy, a different truck, a different car, whatever, different engine, specific engines, you want to know how to tune specific carburetors, let me know. I'll try and get that sorted out. See you on the next one. Cheerio, you lot.